Hey, good morning or good afternoon, everybody. Scott Luton, Greg White, Enrique Alvarez here with you on Supply Chain Now. Welcome to today's live stream. Greg, Enrique, how are we doing, gentlemen?
Great. Uh, yeah, it was a great weekend. We're getting a little rain here in Atlanta, but all things considered, especially our topic today, I think we're all doing great.
Yeah, no kidding. Enrique, how are you doing?
Things are going great, yes. And as Greg said, I mean, considering everything else that's happening in other parts of the world, I can't complain. We had like a tornado warning and tornado that kind of came close to Atlantic Station here in Atlanta.
Really?
But, yeah.
Wow.
Heavy rain, but that's all it was. So we're good.
That's good. Good to hear everybody at Vector and at the White household are safe and sound. We're getting some remnants of that storm out here in Walton County. So if I disappear today, you know that the internet is down. But
We got you, Boo.
nevertheless, folks, we've got Amanda really got a kick out of that, Greg. We've got a far more serious topic that we're being talking about today here on the Supply Chain Buzz. We're going to dive in deep with India and the tremendous challenges they're experiencing there related to the pandemic. We've got a wonderful panel of folks that will be joining us and sharing some of the things that they're tracking, some of their observations, and some of the great efforts that they are leading or supporting to get some of these critical supplies to our friends in India.
Right.
So stay tuned for a great conversation. Now, the Supply Chain Buzz is powered by our friends at OpenText, the information company. We really appreciate their support. Be on the lookout. They've got a big event coming out in June that we're going to be sharing more details and a sneak peek on very, very soon. So, Greg, the buzz comes to our community every Monday at 12 noon Eastern time. Is that right?
As far as we know, Scott, it does. Yes. Yeah. It's gotten to the point that almost everyone in my household knows what's happening at noon now that we've been doing it for over a year.
And you kick everybody off Fortnite and John Madden
Fortnite.
football.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. And apparently, what is it? Minecraft is making a comeback.
Is it?
So, yeah.
Well, I learned over the weekend. I thought Fortnite was still a foreign concept for my kids. My son's been playing it. I'm like, how do you even know about it? It's on my game, Dad. So I'm always the last one to the party, though. So, but nevertheless, the buzz is all about some of the leading topics across industry, and we all felt as a team we should devote today at a minimum to really better understanding what our Indian friends are experiencing. And we're working
It's a
on
great opportunity for the community to give forward.
Yeah, that's a great point. That's great. All right. So really quick, let's, before we say hello to a few folks, I want to share a couple of program notes really quick. So today on the main channel, Greg and Enrique, we published an outstanding episode, a frank, transparent episode with JD Redmond. And just as the title suggests, Redmond's rebound, his resilience through some challenging times, and the good news, and there's always good news if you look hard, his new venture. JD really shares some frank experiences. He talks about how he had kind of resort to driving for Uber, even on Thanksgiving Day, to make ends meet, and some of the things his family went through. But again, it all led him to what he's doing now, which is his new venture. So check that out on the main channel. Tomorrow, we're going to be talking about supply chain real estate as we relaunch our supply chain real estate series with Ward Richmond, which is talk about someone, Greg and Enrique, that's got his finger on the pulse of what's going on across the industrial real estate, but also with Prologis, which is one of the biggest names out there, established market leader. So tune in tomorrow at 12 noon, where I plan on learning a lot more about real estate. Greg, you looking forward to the series, huh?
I'll be in the cheap seats. Yes. So
that's a good place to be.
It is. I can't wait. I'm sure that you guys are going to knock it out of the park. So I'm looking forward to catching one.
And then finally, IBM is going to join us on Thursday on a Digital Transformers episode on Supply Chain Now live stream. And we're going to get a sneak peek of Think 21 or 2021 rather. So stay tuned for that. Join us, especially if you like all things cloud related. You're not going to miss Kevin and Brian as we learn a lot more about what they've got planned for the big event just a couple weeks away. Okay, so with that said, one more thing, and I want to make sure, folks, if you do anything today, I'm hoping there are two things. We accomplish two things together. Number one, better uncover and hearing some new perspective on what our friends in India are experiencing. And number two, just like Greg said, how you can get involved, no matter how little, no matter how much, no matter all points in between. We want to really help raise the visibility of some of these critical projects. So on that note, before we say hello to a few folks, I want to share this a couple times. Enrique's team's really doing a great job quarterbacking and facilitating amongst a wide variety of initiatives. If you want to get involved, India@vectorgl.com. And we're also going to share viba.com or .org in the comments. Two outstanding initiatives to really get stuff where they need to be to help people. All right. So Greg and Enrique, I want to say hello to a few folks, and then we're going to tee things up, sharing some of the latest news on India, and then we're going to bring in on our wonderful panel here today. Are y'all ready to go?
I'm ready. Yep, let's do it.
Let's do it. So let's say hello to a few folks that are tuned in today. Kavan is back, also a supply chain doctor. Hopefully Chris is okay with that. But Kavan, great to see you here today. Nick Rumer. Nick, hope this finds you well. Did a great job on This Week in Business History, talking about sustainability and climate change. Love Greg and Enrique. I love rubbing elbows with passionate people that want to do good. And Nick is certainly one of those folks. Mohammed is tuned in via LinkedIn. Great to see you here today. Srinivas is in India, tuned in. We've enjoyed his contributions on these live streams. Srinivas, hope this finds you and your family well. Vinay is back. Vinay has been coming on strong here lately, hasn't he, Greg?
Yeah, been here a lot.
He sure has. Peter Bolay, of course. You can't have a live stream without Peter. I wonder what project he's got up his sleeves this week. I'm sure.
I don't know, but if the weather's anything in Quebec like it is here, then he's got the top up on his Mustang.
Well, I was able to reconnect one-on-one with Peter on Friday and catch up with him and some things he's doing. So, Peter, hope this finds you well. And Keita is tuned in via LinkedIn. Welcome. Great to have you here. David's got a new headshot. David, hope this finds you well in Canada and that you're doing well up there. Let's see. Aaron Smetak. I call Minecraft. Okay. Aaron must have kids, huh?
That is a throwback game to like the beginning of gaming. I think Minecraft is, and I have still never played it. I can't believe it.
I hadn't either, so I'm going to uncover exactly what it is. Daniel Hartnett is with us. Hello from Northern Virginia. Mohib is back. He says, did I miss Enrique's signature entrance?
We were discussing that before we actually came
right,
live,
should we?
But we didn't
He was already here.
That's
Mohib.
right.
Yeah.
Hey, Mohib, I want to plant a seed with you. So we're going to be launching the series to really feature point of view and perspective and insights from college students, especially those that are majoring in supply chain programs or business programs. So we'd love to have Wichita State in the mix. So we'll have to reconnect after today's live stream.
No doubt.
Okay, I know there's a lot more folks we couldn't get here today. We want to get to the issue of the day, which is the pandemic in India. But welcome everybody, and thanks so much for tuning in. And again, I want to challenge everybody to give on some level to these great initiatives, whatever you can afford. Okay, so Enrique and Greg, and there's so much reporting going on around what's taking place in India. I want to set the table just a little bit with some of the latest news that came out this morning. So I'm going to share this here, and y'all stop me if y'all have heard, if you want to add anything or any kind of clarification. But according to CNBC, India's second wave of the COVID-19, of course, has continued to rise. In fact, the World Health Organization said a few days ago that 1 in every 3 cases of the coronavirus globally is being reported in India. They've had almost 7 million cases reported just in the month of April alone. And I think they had 19 million all told. So a big number there just in the month of April. So scientists say, and one of our panelists was talking about this in the pre-show, scientists say a big factor in the challenge to control COVID-19 in India is the emergence of 2 variants, a UK variant and an Indian variant. Let's see here. Maharashtra home to Mumbai, has been the epicenter of this second wave. And I think I've got far and away the epicenter of the second wave. And if you're geographically challenged like I am, I kind of wanted to just put a basic map up there so you can get a sense of where the main state in India that's been challenged with this second wave. So vaccination efforts also have been hampered by shortages, and unfortunately, the supply crunch as it relates to vaccines is expected to last through July. So that's not good news. So before we bring on our panelists, Enrique, I want you to. We're going to talk a lot about what's going on and a variety of efforts. But tell us, I shared that address earlier. Just before we bring on our panelists, just to share a little bit about how you would challenge folks to, communicate via that email. How can folks jump in there?
Yes, no, and the one thing that at least for me, has been very clear, and something I've learned throughout this last year, even more than a year of the pandemic, is that all our efforts make a difference, right? So it doesn't matter if you're like a large corporation. It doesn't matter if you're donating some money. It doesn't matter if you're donating PPE or just kind of lending a helping hand to someone out there. I think this pandemic has kind of like made the world come closer together, and I think it has actually made our communities come closer together. So the one thing that I would say before kind of like introducing the people that are really, really pushing these efforts and really changing the world and changing what's happening in India is, let's just all pitch in, right? I think we've done this before. When we started the pandemic back in December, 2 years ago now, we sent some PPE to China, and that's when it started, before it even hit the US or the Western world. And we've gone through our fair share of suffering here in this country and in all the other countries in Latin America and the world. And now it's India's turn, and it's heartbreaking and it's devastating. And we can't just not do nothing, right? We can't keep our arms crossed. We have to act. So that would be the one thing that I want to let people know. If it's via our email, if you have PPE, if you have oxygenators, and if you have other materials, the idea is that we're going to be sourcing some of these and then supporting them to be shipped. And we'll be donating as well some of the shipments. And the idea is that we try to help our friends and partners. We have good partners in logistics in India that we work with and we've been working with for many years, and they're suffering. So we just want to kind of do whatever we can to support them in this time of need.
Love that. Thank you so much, Enrique. And if you know Enrique, talk about passion, Greg. I love action-focused leadership. Deeds, not words. And he and his team are all about it, Greg.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, and this impacts a lot of people. At Blue Ridge, we have an office in Pune, a development office in Pune, which is southeast of Mumbai, which is right in the Maharashtra province. And I haven't gotten a report on where we stand there, but I did get a report from a friend who lives in Bangalore, who also has operations in Hyderabad and also in Pune. And he said 20% of his team is infected. So it's not a small, an insignificant surge. There is some good news that nearly as many people are recovering each day, about 37, whatever that is, as are being infected. But just to give you an idea, yesterday, 370,000 people were reported infected. There were 370,000 new cases. Scott, the total cases is 19.9 million, just so you know. But a lot of those cases have happened during this surge because India early on locked down tight. And even their first surge numbers weren't nearly the surge that most countries saw. So this is new and growing rapidly level of infection in that country. So if you're interested, the mohfw.gov.in, the Indian government, is their Ministry of Health is reporting there, and also worldometers.info. If you haven't been going to that site, you can go there and see what's going on with coronavirus globally, and it breaks it down very well into about every single number you could possibly have interest in. But truth is, this isn't really about numbers.
Right.
right? About 3,400 people passed yesterday from coronavirus. There are about 3.4 million cases active right now.
Wow. Well, so we've assembled a panel. We want to really get as connected as we could, and as much as we value the news, we kind of want to get past the news and hear kind of on a human level from this great panel we've put together. So I want to introduce them really quick, and then we're going to swoosh them into the stream, and Greg will go from there. So joining us here today, we got Chef Vikas Khanna, an Indian chef, restaurateur, cookbook writer, filmmaker, and humanitarian based in New York City. We have Keyur Shah, also based in New York, serves on the board of directors with a nonprofit that's leading dozens of humanitarian efforts in India. And we've got our friend Dhairya Patel, a supply chain practitioner who is living in northwestern India at present before moving to Atlanta to attend Georgia Tech. So let's bring them into the conversation. Good afternoon, everybody. Thanks so much for your time. So, Greg, really enjoyed the pre-show conversation with our panel here, connecting and really learning more about some of the great things they're leading. But, Greg, where do we want to start with our panel here today?
Well, I mean, I think it's good to hear about what's going on. We have done a little bit of that, but I think I'd like to hear from Chef Vikas Khanna and a little bit about what you've seen, what's motivated your efforts, Vikas, and how you're contributing to response and helping uplift the people of India.
So, when the first hit of the coronavirus reached India, the first wave, we understood that it's going to be a food challenge, very important, that there could be a possibility of people dying of hunger. Sorry, I haven't slept all night. So there are a lot of migrant workers who were going back to the villages, and we saw the huge pandemic around hunger. And that is the time I started Feed India. And in almost a year, we served more than 60 million people, which is a big amount of number, but not such a massive number as compared to the need of the hour, because we started with a lot of difficulty. But when the second wave hit, we figured out that the only way to move forward would be partnerships to get oxygen concentrators, PPE kits, to figure out how to make makeshift hospitals which are hygienic and accessible. And that is where, Enrique and everybody and Keyur, everybody came on board. And it is their vision to put this forward and to support the country as much as we can. Because in this time, if they're just, and most of the people who are interviewing me, they want me to comment on the political issue of it. I said, it's a human issue. Let's leave everything behind. We have a lot of time to do that. Right now, it's the time to save lives, find a way to find solutions, and use all our training, skill, resources to support the country right now.
Well, I really appreciate what you're doing. And this certainly transcends politics. If anything does these days, that certainly does. So I appreciate that point of view. And we're going to talk a little bit more about what you're doing at depth here in just a little bit. But in the meantime, it'd be great to hear maybe from ground level, Dhairya, if I think our whole community knows you, Dhairya, and yet probably many have never seen you speak before. But I really appreciate you being on the show. And tell us a little bit about where you are in India and what you're seeing or experiencing yourself.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting me on the show. So basically, I am from the northwestern part of India, a state called Gujarat. And the situation in India is really grim right now. We are facing an unprecedented pandemic. And there are cases, as you said, around 3.7 lakh cases being reported daily. There is a shortage of oxygen and critical medical equipment such as ventilators at various hospitals. The hospitals are inundated with patients with their relatives reaching, but patients are not able to gain beds for their loved ones. And this is really an alarming situation. As you say that India was able to contain the COVID cases during the first wave. But right now, India cannot afford a second lockdown because around 90% of our workforce works in the informal sector. So it is basically an effort to ramp up the critical infrastructure and provide medical oxygen as much as possible in order to provide immediate relief to the patients who are experiencing the current surge. And as I believe that India has always embraced the ideology of Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, the whole world is a one big family. And therefore, during the time of need, India also exported around 60 million COVID doses to various countries. And this time, India needs your help. It is in the midst of a crisis. So every small contribution will make a large difference, not just in monetary terms, but I believe that people have also been very active on social media, and they have tried to mobilize the resources and consolidate various resources on certain platforms and provide SOS and help centers for each other. So in these times of need, it is very much important to unite as a community and be for each other. That's what I believe.
Thank you for sharing that. You mentioned that there's no real possibility to kind of lock down as you've done in the past because of the economy and the nature of how the economy is driven right now. I don't, as Vika said earlier, I don't even know the politics of India, so frankly, this couldn't be political. But I'm curious, how have you seen people try to manage in that experience, Dhairya?
So people have been very active. We have our neighbors and we who are trying to help each other in these times of need. They are trying to mobilize resources. Like certain organizations have tried to build large tents, and they have tried to cook meals, provide meals to the COVID positive patients and families. So in these times of need, at least if you could help one person or one family, and we can take care of each other, then that would make a greater impact. And that has been the ground reality. People have been they have been cognizant of the emotions of and the endurance that the other families are facing.
So we're going to talk a little bit about Keyur, with what you are doing with VIBA, and maybe before you share a little bit about that, because I think that's what we'd like to focus most of the discussion on. But if you could share a little bit of what you're seeing as well, and I'm not sure, I don't know what part of the country you're in, Keyur. So can you share that with us?
Sure. So I live in Princeton, New Jersey, but I'm based out of Mumbai, India. So I have a lot of family in Mumbai, in Maharashtra, and obviously they've all been badly affected. 5 years ago, we had not imagined a pandemic beyond the movie Contagion, and now we are in the midst of the second wave in India. Like Vikas said, we may all have our own views regarding what went wrong, but we at VIBA, along with Vikas, are laser focused on how to make it right, and how to save lives, how to save India. Good part is, the whole team that we have put together is completely volunteer driven. VIBA as an organization is 100% volunteer driven. We are ensuring that all the funds that we raise, which is about 350K where we have reached right now, 100% of the proceeds are going for oxygen concentrators, PPE kits, so on and so forth. So, the goal is that, bring together partners like Enrique, yourself, build a big team. And Vikas has been, like you see on his face, he has not been sleeping all night. He's just being on and on.
I don't think he looks that bad, Keyur.
Yeah. So, the idea is get in people who understand what needs to be done, who, are empathetic towards what's happening there, and who are focused on getting it right. And, what we have realized with this virus is that, it hits the lungs bad, and people have oxygen level drops, and folks get a cardiac arrest or things similar. And so the need is, getting devices like oxygen concentrators. And it's a simple device which takes nitrogen, gets air, takes nitrogen out, and gives purified air, oxygen to the patient. So a simple thing, but it is something that can save lives. So that's where we are on, get the concentrators, get oxygen to India, and save lives. That's what has been motivating us.
And one of the things that Keyur mentioned on my phone call on Friday is that time is of the essence, right? So at the end of the day, if you wait like 10 days, 5 days, 15 days to source, it is, probably a very harsh way of putting it, but every day it passes, a lot more people will die, right? So sourcing quickly and effectively and rapidly requires a lot of effort from a lot of people from all over the world, but we have to act quick, or the quicker we act, the better it will be for people.
Absolutely. So, it's really important. Going back to something Enrique said earlier, each country across the globe have embraced different times and the really challenging times, and with India now navigating through this, as Vikas was sharing, as each of y'all were sharing, there's some unique challenges to containment, and one of the things we're hoping, and one of the things I've seen being reported on is that the manufacturing, getting everybody vaccinated, of course, is going to be really important. I've seen some of the manufacturers find ways to increase production of that, including production facilities based in India, which is going to be great news. But Vikas, if you could share a little bit more, you brought up the food and the families that may be hungry, which is a different element I hadn't thought of yet. Could you elaborate a little bit more on perhaps that need you're seeing in India right now?
So what's happening right now, that the economy of the country is slipping. That's happening globally. But in India, we also understand that we have a majority of the people, like in big cities, are daily wage workers. Right now, businesses have come to a halt. So you're talking about people who earn almost daily and they have to feed the family daily. So a part of our initiative is also to feed their families. So what we do is we provide them with kits which have dry grains, rice, lentils, flour, and just the basic salt, sugar, tea. And we started giving those to those families who are right now either displaced or in quarantine centers in villages or are not working. But it is also tough because what's happening is that our volunteers have really reduced in numbers because everybody has issues in their families right now. It's really hit home right now, as you say. So it's also important that, people are eating properly, not just properly, they're eating at least, That is something which just breaks my heart, because all what I'm based on is what I learned from that country and its food and the kitchens. And to see that the country is struggling just with the basic food, it's also breaking our hearts. You're talking about one person, and there's so many people right now, and it's going to be a little tough for the next few months. I know that for sure. And speaking to so many people throughout the day and night, and of course, one of a person is based in India. He can tell that right now, the people who are working on daily wages, they don't have any work right now. So food is something which is the most important necessity in many parts too. Of course, what Keyur and me have discussed, our first priority right now after this pandemic is under control. Right now, the second wave is opening up vaccination centers. We are not going to stop. We're going to find more partners and ways on ground where people will get vaccinated.
Excellent. And Amanda or Clay, I appreciate y'all dropping the link to viva.org, and where folks can support what Vikas just shared, as well as some other challenges that Keyur and Dhairya have shared. So doing wonderful work right there on the ground, meeting the need exactly where it is. And Vikas very eloquently stated. So our hearts and our prayers and our actions are with you. And that's really appreciate you being here today, and that human element to the need and to the time and to the challenge is so important for folks to understand, because, in this current news cycle, things stay in front of the camera for, 24 hours, and then it rolls to the next one. And sometimes when those stories roll, you still have so many hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people that are hurting. So thanks so much for taking time here today, Greg.
I think we have to recognize the potential scale here. This is the second most populated nation on the entire planet. 1.3, almost 1.4 billion people. So arguably, I mean, their numbers as high as 1.7 that I've seen, but it's a lot of people, and the scale is far outstripping the government's ability, the healthcare infrastructure's ability to support it. So there's no doubt that external help is needed, and if you can, of course, you can help by reaching out, as Enrique said, at India@vectorgl.com or at Vibha. Sorry, do we have the URL? Did we drop the URL for that?
Sure did. Hey, if I could, and thanks for calling that out, Greg. Again, we want to keep that front and center. India@vectorgl.com and Vibha.org, and the links are in the comments. I've got a question here from a LinkedIn user. I'm not sure who this is, Clayton, man. If y'all could let me know. He or she says, what I have been hearing in the news is that the real issue is in the logistics of oxygen from manufacturer to hospitals. Is that the case? Can any of our panelists or even Enrique, can y'all share anything? That's Nanda. That's Nanda, by the way. Thank you.
I will let Vikas kind of take that because he's actually been, or Keyur, because they've been very involved in that, and they're actually focusing their efforts in oxygenators and oxygen concentrators.
So within a few days, hours actually, 50 oxygen concentrators will land in India. We already placed an order for 500 more. Keyur has been coordinating that day in and day out. It's not easy. You're talking about global logistics, especially during a pandemic. But they are all on the way and will be landing soon, which will hopefully be able to initiate a lot of different productivities. And what we say, inshallah, hope this can save a lot of lives. This is just the beginning of our initiatives here.
Wonderful. All right. So the oxygenators, we've talked about the food, which that need as well. What else? Is there anything else that maybe would be in our blind spot in terms of specific supplies that if folks have, we need to get it moving?
There are a lot of images we are seeing from India, or these other people, the folks who are helping for the last cremations or the burials. And we need to protect those people too. It breaks our hearts to see those images. So we are ordered a lot of PPE kits. Enrique has been totally hands-on on that. This is the very high quality PPE kits which people will be wearing. But you also have to remember, it's very hot in India right now. And these are the people who are doing the last rites. When many families abandon the dead bodies of COVID patients, these are the people who are performing the last rites. So that, that's just the basic dignity of right now. And that is going to be our very big focus starting this week, that these people also need to be protected.
From a logistics standpoint, Scott, if I may just add one thing, is we need more help, right? And this is why we're doing this show, and this is why Vikas and Keyur and everyone have been actually working so hard. It's like, as Greg pointed out, it's going to need a lot of help from a lot of countries, from a lot of people out there. And so the more we can raise the awareness, the better it will be. And the more we actually understand that two things. One that I kind of tell my children all the time is the more you give, the more you get. That's a fact, right? So you have to be willing to give. And then the other is, this is not an Indian problem. India has so much interaction and interconnectivity with all the other countries in the world that this is going to impact every single one of us, right? From us sitting here in Atlanta to someone sitting in Moscow to in Kenya or wherever you are in the world. Just recognize, hopefully after a year of pandemic, that helping India is ultimately not just about helping India, it's about helping you and your family, because the world is very connected. And if India cannot get back to work safely and efficiently, that impact's going to be reflected in higher shipping costs, inflation in other countries, and tons of other things that we've been seeing already, right? And we'll continue to experience and are going to make supply chain, again, incredibly challenging, as we have seen for the last couple of months.
Yeah, I appreciate that, Enrique. And that's certainly where we hope to serve as a connector. There is a huge, as we all know, we've been speaking to, demand for logistics, right? Not just the infrastructure and the wherewithal, but expertise. So if you're out there, if you're a global supply chain organization and you've got some wherewithal to donate towards these efforts, please use that india@vectorgl.com. Even if you have a thought or an idea, reach out. Let's don't say no. Let Enrique or the Vector team say no. Let's get as creative as possible. So india@vectorgl.com.
Thank you.
Okay. So one last and Dhairya, Vikas, Keyur, we definitely if there's anything that we want to y'all would like to touch on today, please. This is your platform, and we're very honored to have you here. Greg, I didn't mean to cut you off. Were you about to add something?
Only that I've been muting my mic so that everyone doesn't have to listen to the thunderstorm here. I think what's important to recognize, again, I said scale, right? The recovery rate, as I said, is very high, but the numbers are enormous. Again, this is an enormous country. So as Enrique has said, and as everyone else has said, the impact is significant. It's significant on supply chain. It's significant on the economy. It's significant on human beings. And it's not just the illness, as Vikas has said, it is the collateral impact of the economy essentially, even if not mandated by the government, coming to a complete standstill and stopping people who earn their next day's money today. I don't think a lot of us in highly developed countries recognize that there are a lot of people, as Vika said, who are earning what they're going to buy bread with in the morning right now. And if the economy is stopped, they can't do that. And they don't have a savings account, and they don't have backup stock. So there's not a lot of a backstop for a lot of those people. And that's another reason, as Enrique said, that's another reason why action right now really, really matters.
Excellent point, Greg. Well, so let's do this. I want to go kind of around through our panel one more time. I'd love for y'all to share how can folks reach out and connect with y'all or the initiatives you're leading and supporting. And of course, if there's anything else you would like to add to the conversation here today that folks really need to know, please share. And let's start with you, Dhairya.
Yeah. So I feel that one other aspect of the current pandemic in India that is often ignored is the mental health aspect of it. So we have families getting impacted by the COVID-19 virus, and therefore employers and organizations need to understand that this is a time when they need to empathize with their employees and understand that some deadlines may get missed, but in the end, what remains is the how their employees are doing and how their families are doing. So it is in this time that you can really show that how much you care for your employees. So one important aspect is connecting with folks, try to understand what are they going through, and lending them mental and moral support is something also which is the need of the hour. That's what I believe. And young people have a role to play where they can interact with their family members and try to establish confidence, because many people are also have this fear of COVID, where they are constantly feeling anxious that they will catch COVID because of the current pandemic. So there needs to be a certain awareness that, as Greg said, that the recovery rate is also good enough. So there is also a positivity around that. And therefore, this also should not be neglected, and this thing should also be raised. That's what I believe. And folks can always connect with me and send me a connection request via LinkedIn. I'm always open for a conversation.
Thank you, Dhairya. You're a treasure in our live streams, and it was great to sit down with you one-on-one and learn more about your perspective and your story. Not too long ago, we look forward to publishing that this week, and I really appreciate you jumping on short notice to share some of your observations here today, Dhairya. And folks, you can see in the ticker here, we've got not only the Vector GL email, but also viba.org, if I said that right, and I apologize if I didn't. So VIBHA.org. Y'all check out, learn more about what they're doing, and of course, we'd encourage you to donate. One comment before I move to Vikas. Let's see here. So Kim Winter from Dubai has joined us. Kim, thanks so much. It's great to see you. I hope you and your family are doing well. He's going to start an online promo this evening to really drive traffic to these organizations. So thanks so much, Kim, for leveraging your global community there. All right, so Vikas, I tell you, the pain is so you can see it. It's so visual in your testimony here today, and it is heartbreaking. It is absolutely heartbreaking. But how can folks, what else would you add, and how can folks connect and really get behind the effort here?
I think we are at a stage where we need everyone's hands together to make this disappear. I wish there was some magic or miracle, but eventually the biggest miracle is all of us coming together. That's a miracle. And I'm just saying that support viva.org in whatever way you can. And that's what they're working on ground, to be more resourceful and using all our platforms to be a part of the solution.
Excellent point. And from what I understand, I'm kind of new to viva.org, but they're, as you said it, boots on ground. They're there locally. They're doing stuff locally. They're very connected to the wide variety of needs and getting that information back to their teams wherever they are, here, whether it's the States or elsewhere. So it's there's charities that really are in the know with their, not just their finger, but their whole hand on the pulse of what's needed. Those are groups doing great work. So thanks so much for bringing that message here today, especially that message of let's pull together. Got to pull together to get through into the post-pandemic environment. Keyur, what else? There's so much to share, and folks, it's not lost on us. An hour live stream, it's tough to get into all the different moving pieces related to what's going on in India. But if nothing else, if we walk away with one person and one business leader that's aware now a little bit more of what the challenges are and will take action, then this will be a win for us. Keyur, what else would you add, and how can folks connect with you?
Like you already have the website, viva.org/donate is where we have all the information. We keep on updating the website with where we stand, currently. And I just have two quotes that I like to mention. One is of Steve Jobs, which is like, the things you most regret in life are the things you didn't do. And finally, Vikas and I have a favorite in common, Dalai Lama. And, one quote of his, I remind myself every day. And that is, if you think you are too small to make a difference, try sleeping with a mosquito. And I will leave it at that. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Trying to maintain a sense of humor can be really challenging, but really appreciate the wonderful leadership work that you are doing. Our actions and thoughts and prayers are with you all. And we look forward to talking with you and reconnecting with you again soon. We've been talking with Chef Vikas Khanna, Keyur Shah, and Dhairya Patel. Thank you so much, everybody.
Thank you.
I'm not sure what else I can add. I am really, it pains me to see folks in pain, and it's just it becomes human, right? When you sit down, even in this virtual world we're in, it just becomes so much more human. And as Chef Vikas said, I wish there was some kind of magic wand, silver bullet, you name it, right?
I think we can come together though, right? And as he mentioned as well, the miracle is that we're finally all going to realize that we're all living in the same world and we have to act together. And the only other thing that I wanted to say, Scott, is just thanking publicly and openly for all the other organizations and people that have already reached out to me and to Vector, and really great organizations here in Atlanta, like MedShare and MAP and EverOK, our partners in China. They jumped immediately in, and they're going to try to send a container to China donated by them, and our partners in India. And there's so many other people and organizations that have come to us telling us that they want to help, right? Like the WCA, EO, the entrepreneurship organization, and you guys, Supply Chain Now. I mean, no one hesitated, right? The minute that you guys found out there was a need and there was a way to help, you were like all in. And again, you're not going to say that about your organization, Scott, because you're humble as well. But I just want to point it out that that's great. I mean, thanks for helping. I mean, you guys are a caring and very purpose-driven organization, and we're proud to be part of you guys as well.
Oh, I hope he heard that, Enrique. Looks like
The thunderstorms, yes. It's either that or he's probably
may have gotten him. But on behalf of Scott, thank you very much. Of course, this is part of what you do. You helped me coin the phrase "give forward" by what you've done with Logistics with Purpose and how you approach business and life in general. So it's been a great influence on us, and it's been something that has helped us a lot. And I think that, one of the most important things to recognize here is that, as Vikas and Keyur both said, is any small difference you can make is still a difference, right? So own it, do whatever you can.
Yeah,
So,
be the as another amazing Indian person would say, Gandhi, be the change you want to be in the world, right? And this is the perfect opportunity for that. So please go to bipha.org, donate, and help Chef Vikas' effort and help India.
Yeah. Well, I think we lost the boss. So I think we've hit this topic pretty well today. Look, give however you can, and if you don't know how you can, just reach out to us. You can reach out to Enrique or Scott or myself on LinkedIn, and we'll get right to you and help you figure out how you can contribute. But easiest thing is just hit one of those links right there on the bottom of the screen. Do what you can. As Scott would say, as we always sign off, do good, give forward, and be the change you want to see in the world. Thanks, everybody.
See you.